Hi, Alex Perez again. Yes, I happen to be of Cuban descent. My parents came from Cuba in the 60s. Actually, my father left illegally because he left illegally from the island. My mom, on the other hand, went from Cuba to Spain, stayed 4 months in Spain, came to the United States. My father came here for an opportunity, like everybody else, and he saw the civil rights movement. He went from Cuba to Curacao Island, Miami. A friend of him was waiting for him. They drove up south, and my father witnessed firsthand segregation for the first time ever in his life, because coming from the Cuban point of view, there was no kind of segregation. None of that. Everybody was miscegenated together. Everybody pulled together. But then when he went up to New York, he found a job. First job, he said, he started sweeping floors. The only thing that was hindering him was the language barrier. So he went to put himself to school, got a language going. He learned how to speak English, and my parents struggled. The only ones that kind of helped him out were the Italians, believe it or not. The Italians, but the rest of the other groups, like the Irish and the African Americans, were not too keen on my parents coming. But they struggled, and then from there on, we left New York. We moved to Puerto Rico for about maybe a year and a half, and we came to Miami, and that's how I came up here.
Now, have you ever heard of a fellow named Joe Visconti?
Joe Visconti?
Yes.
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've met him.
He is a candidate for governor of Connecticut. He is Italian American,
okay,
and he's getting a lot of support amongst the Hispanic community in the state.
I think it's time for a Cuban governor to take over here.
You find one that's of the caliber.
I would honestly do it, but I would honestly do it, but I'm more for First Amendment, Second Amendment rights.
Well, you're very articulate, and Joe is the only candidate running for governor this year that is solidly pro-gun.
Yeah,
and you got to look into him.
And I'd be honest with you, because a lot of the laws in this state need to be eradicated, need to be changed.
Yes.
I don't believe that a 16-year-old kid should still be a minor, not a minor anymore, or should be wandering the streets. Mm-hmm. And then something happens, you're to blame.
Now, you're a very articulate man. You should get involved and run for office. There's openings for state rep and state senate, and locally. You should do it. You got a little gray, so you're probably about 40, right?
I'm 43.
So I figured about that. You got a long time. I'm 66, and I'm a 35-year-old trapped in a 66-year-old body. Yeah. And you got a lot more life to live. Consider it.
I started to consider it, but I got my parents living in Miami, and they're old now, and then they want me to move back down and help. I'm divorced. I have a 16-year-old son, and a lot of things going on. And the idea of change. The thing is, it's not one person that can make the change. Everybody has to come together, make that change happen.
Right, and it has to start local. It's got to start grassroots.
And unfortunately, I hate to bring this up, but the Cuban Revolution, it was Castro and a group of people that made the change. But in the end, he flipped it around and said, how can I stay in power forever?
Yep.
Be a Marxist, Leninist, communist.
There you go. That's why you got to be careful.
That's why my father left. That's why I'm very careful. I don't like the idea of socialism or communism, because I feel that this country's leaning towards Obamacare is a form of socialism.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say this, but it's a form. I'm nothing personal against Obama. I think he was put as president, and he came to wipe up someone else's mess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, granted, Bush was good in here, but he had his faults. Like every president had their faults, all the way down from Eisenhower to now. And I'm nothing against Eisenhower. I kind of like Eisenhower.
But you keep going back here. Let's keep going. Let's go down to Roosevelt next.
Roosevelt, yeah. FDR and the New Deal plan was he created was welfare. Mm-hmm. There's still to this day, we're still people on welfare. And the New Deal plan that came back from Roosevelt, that Roosevelt's plan was the New Deal was supposed to be during World War II. After World War II, after 1945, that's supposed to be eradicated. But it just kept on going like a machine.
But just getting back to the topic at hand now, you've spoken a lot, and I think the fact that you're here you're originally, your parents came from Cuba.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're here now in Naugatuck, and you're working at a school and a barber shop.
Yeah.
You're not a big politician. You're not a hedge fund guy, but you're living your life.
I'm living my life, and you know the thing is, politics. It's give and take. You got to give, you got to take, and then sometimes people could, you know, like I could give you examples going up back to the Roman Empire, how corrupt things got.
Well, listen, next time I see you, send me you got my card, send me the email, I'll put you on my email list, and I'll keep you in the mix, and I have, you're on Facebook?
Yeah, I got Facebook.
Well, friend me on Facebook, and you can see what's going on Facebook. You'll learn a lot off my Facebook page.
Yeah, because I'm a big supporter for the Second Amendment.
Well, Second Amendment, then you'll love.
I believe that our citizens. I mean, there's a reason why our forefathers put the Constitution together.
Yes.
First, Second Amendment. I feel like the rights here, in this state alone, people in this state government have been violating our rights as well.
Yes.
And then everyone should stand up and say no.
Well, Joe Visconti is the candidate for protecting your Second Amendment right. He wants to roll back the current laws and give people more rights and allow them to carry in more places for protection of everybody.
Well, like open carry too.
Yes.
Like not in the actual permit, it doesn't say conceal.
Mm-hmm.
It only says permission to carry a weapon. It doesn't say conceal. Where does it say conceal? Where is it?
All right, let me go. We'll get some more
thank you very much.
opinions.